right, welcome back to the show, everyone. This is Ali Tabrizi, and in today's episode, I need to talk about something that has been weighing on my mind for a very long time. And that is the fact that the United Nations is hiding pedophiles. And no one's talking about it, okay? So when it comes to the likes of Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, or Jimmy Savile, these are high net worth celebrity cases that the media can make a ton of money on and that the lawyers can make a ton of money on. However, anytime someone comes to these lawyers and tries to talk about a UN staff member that has been raping kids, they don't touch it. Now, why is that? It's because when you work for the UN, you have what's called diplomatic immunity, which situates you above the law. There is not a single police officer, courtroom, or judge that can prosecute anyone working at the UN for basically any kind of crime, not only child sexual abuse. Now, here's how bad it gets. When you look at the figures that the United Nations themselves acknowledge and admit to, they admit that they were responsible for 60,000 rapes in just a 10-year period, many of which include children. And they acknowledge that there are 3,300 pedophiles that work or have worked for the organization. Now, again, these are just the lower end figures which the UN admit to. And in upcoming episodes, as well as on my Substack, we'll be diving into the higher end estimates of those figures, and they will horrify you. As well as the fact that anytime there is a UN peacekeeping operation that shows up in Central Africa or across the world, child sexual abuse, rape, and prostitution absolutely skyrocket. Now, the United Nations is meant to be the organization which upholds such things as human rights. They are the world's largest, most trusted, and most well-funded charitable organization on the face of the planet. And because they have this diplomatic community and this wonderful reputation of being the good guys, we all just turn a blind eye to it. And I think what it does is it shows our bias for celebrity news. We don't seem to care if children are being raped multiple times, as long as it's not a celebrity doing it. And so that's the only reason why we're hearing about P. Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. These guys have deep pockets and can make a ton of money. However, think of it like this analogy. You have a sinking ship. Now, if you take a teaspoon and try and scoop out some water, that's essentially what you're doing with these celebrity cases. Now, you should be doing that. Take these guys to court, make an example of them. But we can't forget the gaping hole in the side of the ship, which is the United Nations. This, to me, is the greatest scandal in a generation, perhaps the greatest scandal in the century, especially when you take into account not only child abuse, but all kinds of other forms of bribery, collusion, corruption, blackmail, spying, which was outlined in episode 1 of my interview with Emma Riley, and as we'll be diving into in upcoming episodes. The next one drops soon. After this episode drops will be when the next podcast goes live, and it's with another ex-UN staff member who worked as an investigator, and what he reveals will absolutely shock you and send shivers up your spine. Stay tuned. Check out my Substack for upcoming exclusive content, and hold tight as we expose the guys that really should have been exposed by the mainstream media a long time ago. I'll see you in the next episode.